to this Time 100 AC360 special, the world's most influential people. 100 innovators, educators, world leaders, entertainers, even some criminals. What they share is impact, good or bad, on the world and on our lives. You're going to recognize many of the names Time is honoring in their new issue, but you'll also know many of those who are interviewing and writing about them, not to mention some of the surprising answers they get. Bono, for example, interviewing George Clooney, talking ambition and politics.
Could you imagine you running for office in the United States?
No, I thought about it years ago, a lot of years ago. Because, it's sort of in my, if you're son of a journalist, you've really been around politics your whole life. And I thought about it.
Also, my interview with the women of The View, including their influence on this election.
I think what happened was when we had John McCain on, and when we had Barack Obama on, and when we had their wives on, suddenly we had such vitality, and we were very tough on some of them.
Later, an influential figure in finance, Susie Orman, also on the Time 100 list, revealing a dark chapter from her past, one you probably didn't know about, talking with writer and business guru Susie Welch. And they've made and lost billions, Ted Turner and T. Boone Pickens. Now they're each trying to make a difference to the air we breathe on the planet. All of it in the hour ahead, starting with George Clooney. He's being honored for the supporting role of a lifetime. His concern over something that ought to be a simple expectation, a bare bottom line, that people should not starve and children not be murdered and mothers not raped while the rest of the world looks the other way. We're talking about the genocide in Darfur. Clooney has been named by the UN as a messenger of peace, and he's been to the Darfur region 3 times. He and his father lobby world leaders, bending ears, twisting arms at times. So does U2's Bono, who profiled Clooney for Time and sat down with him for the cameras here in New York at the Rose Theater at Frederick P. Rose Hall, home of jazz at Lincoln Center.
George, we're here today because Time is recognizing your work in Darfur. Great work it is too. But the reason I'm here is, I wanted to get into your head, to understand how you schooled yourself, surrounded yourself with experts, and the strategizing and the long nights it took to become the sexiest man on Earth. Not once, but twice.
2 times. That was a 2-timer.
Because I know it takes a lot of work. I mean, I've seen, this 10, 20, the hair, makeup. I mean...
What you do is, there have been others. Pitt's a 2-timer as well. But he ran a very good campaign the last time. And,
but you helped Matt. I mean, I'm hanging out, I know Brad, I know Matt, I know you. It's getting a little awkward for me because I haven't even been,
there's
mentioned.
Still time.
And
there's still time.
I don't know if you...
I'm aiming for the AARP one now, which is my new goal. I'm going for the senior citizen one. Once you have that, then you've sort of covered it all. And I'll find a spot for you.
Well, thank you. I think that might be... Because I think, the sort of rock stars were just a little too rough and ready. I mean, I'm ready to clean up my act a bit, but it's not going to work.
You're not going to do it. I still think there's time.
George, if that's the reason
that's why
I owned up to this, was I wanted to...
I will help you with this.
There's one other thing, while I can ask you anything I want. You recently slept with somebody that I have a crush on.
Yes.
Nick Kristof of the New York Times.
Yes, I did, actually. It was an interesting week, he and I together.
I'm actually working in the New York Times as a columnist. And I know your dad was a journalist.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And I have a theory, I don't know what you make of it, that actors, in a certain sense, are like journalists. Like you collect the details of other people's lives, the minutiae. Is that far-fetched? Or?
Well, there's some truth to it. The difference is that there isn't the responsibility there as a journalist. You have a responsibility to the truth, or you hope you have a responsibility to the truth. If you're a journalist, if you're an actor, you can make up your facts along the way. You can decide a character has these qualities, and you can decide certain facts, unless you're doing a movie or a project that's based specifically on somebody.
Right.
But yeah, there's some similar. The collection of little pieces and putting it all together, there's some similarities too. I think most actors are jealous of journalism in a lot of ways because there's I have nothing but respect for them.
On the being a famous person, it is, to me, one of the absurdities of of being a famous face is that people admire you and I way above our station. We're not nurses, we're not firemen, we're not, you know. And celebrity seems to have got to an almost oppressive level. I have really long admired you for your graceful dancing around these the sort of very harsh bright lights of fame. How are you dealing with that?
I think, first of all, it helps that I got lucky in a lot of ways. First of all, my aunt was a very famous singer, and then she wasn't. She didn't become less of a singer along the way. Things change, the world changes, and it's taken away. I don't think she handled it particularly well when it first happened. So I got the lesson of fame and how sort of little it has to do with you and how much more it is about a little bit of timing, a little bit of luck, a little bit of all this other. Also, it happened for me late. ER hit me when I was 33. So I'd been not famous for quite some time and not successful for a long time. So I had a better idea of how it works, and how literally little it has to do with you. It has changed dramatically, I think, in the last 5 or 6 years with the sort of gotcha, everybody with a cell phone camera kind of thing.
You heard Brad Pitt come up. He, Bono, and George Clooney share a passion for public service. His passion concerns a place he calls home, New Orleans. He's being honored for it in the pages of Time by another proud New Orleanian, CNN's James Carville. Here he is reading an excerpt of his piece on Brad Pitt.
At a time when New Orleans' future and entire culture hangs in the balance, the most sought-after actor in the world and our fellow New Orleanian hasn't simply helped people. He's given their lives back. Pitt has brought life and hope to our most unique city and one we're proud to call home. In a place that has been described as the city that care forgot, it is a fact that Brad Pitt has never forgotten to care.
When we come back, how Time chose the Time 100, and more of Bono's interview with George Clooney, some lighter moments about his family, and more on his passion for Darfur.
You go through these different phases of, first thing that happens is you get there and you get really angry, and you go, it took me, 20 hours to get here flying. And 20 hours away is a world where the average life expectancy is 38 years old, Well, that's insane to me, coming from a place where the average age is 80.
And later, my encounter with the women of The View.
When John McCain came on, it was in the thick of the election time, and we went after him because of because of the ads that they were running. The Republican Party was running ads that I thought were lies, and I just confronted him on it. That's all. I just did my job.
Also, the money meltdown. Susie Welch interviewing Susie Orman at the New York Stock Exchange, with Orman revealing this about herself and more.
Why do you think I was a waitress till I was almost 30 years of age, having been one for 7 years, making $400 a month? I walked in those shoes. I lived in my car for months. I've done all of that.
That, Ted Turner, singer John Legend, and more as this Time 100 AC360 special, The World's Most Influential People, continues.